Hi, you guys. Um, Hi there. Today, y'all, this is my grocery shopping week, so don't judge me, but you can judge me. It's okay, but whatever. Um, Today, I really wanted to talk about what transpired with me today as I was walking my dog. Okay, so last night, yesterday, and I had to work yesterday on Mother's Day, which was kind of a given because most people try to call off when they're dealing with holidays like that. If they don't get it off, with any type of holidays, especially like Mother's Day, Christmas, Easter, things like that. Thanksgiving sometimes because you can move around it if you have, especially if you're doing with behavior services, things like that. You can kind of move, and some people, But Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, CMEs, the CME worshipers, um, that's when you're gonna start missing a lot of people. So I knew that I was gonna work on that day. I should have just put it on, but I didn't, which, well, you know what? It kind of bounced out because it was overtime. So, yeah, I knew it's going to be working that day. It's not like Father's Day, which is so messed up. Like, y'all need to start repping for some of these fathers because some of these fathers be in it. They be putting in the work. And yeah, I'm going to need y'all to go just as hard. But anywho, but we know mothers do a lot of things. So, anywho, if you celebrate it, whatever, cool. Happy Mother's Day to you. So as I'm walking my dog, we have like this mini strip. It looks like if anyone has been to Omaha, Nebraska, I definitely believe they're doing the same thing that they did with the strip that has like the residency where they have what's that? The eat the worm. They have these restaurants, and they're like it's a whole strip. It's almost like Louisiana Baton Rouge like strip, but is very much upkept. It's very high scale, but it's still a lot of people come down there, so it's really nice. It's young college people, a lot of people who are doing their residency. For if you don't know what residency is, it's people who are going to become doctors. They're doing their hands-on experiences in the hospital. They live on that strip, like everywhere you turned, you met a doctor. Like even if they were just going into residency, they were coming out of it. Like you met doctors. So baseball players, there was a lot of those at like Omaha. But anywho, I don't live in Omaha, but I kind of like Omaha and that strip, that part. So anywho, we have a strip like that where I live at, and it's like a mini strip because they're trying to rebuild this place and make it more city life because it's definitely a country place, even though it is a large city. It's really townsy. Like, and before I even moved here, they said it was even townsier. So, and I can believe it. It's a college place. It's got a couple of colleges here. And it's very much townsy, very much farmland, which in the long run is getting to that city part. I live more in the city. I live directly downtown. So, but they do have some towns places like places where it's really, really townsy as farmland. I really, really like that, but I cannot afford that. I don't know. I probably could because it's almost the same as what I say, but we'll get to that. Anywho, we'll work on that later. But anywho, so as I'm walking with my dog, I see my former neighbor, not one that lived in the building that I live in now. I lived in like this other building that was downtown, and it was off to the side. So that place, when that place, it ended up catching on fire. When that place caught on fire, we got relocated to the other upscale apartments. They had us where we could go to different places, and they would accommodate it because it was their fault. But she went one way, and I went to another building. I really like my building, even though it doesn't have a bathroom, but I really like it because of the amenities in it. We don't have our own private like yards in our building, but we do have like the fitness center. We have a community center. We have a business center. We have things for storage. it's just the things that were working for me more than having something like a balcony or whatever. So anywho, I see her there, and she like took a second glimpse. I don't think she knew who I was because of my contacts, which I'm really happy at, because if you have very distinct features in a place that, especially in a place where most people in this area don't look like you, or I won't even, well, I won't say don't look like you, because there are some people who, look like me, but at the same time, I really much stand out, some of my features, like my eyes, I know some of those things just stand out. People can tell. And other people are just spiritually inclined. They can just feel your presence. But as I was walking, I noticed that she was screaming, talking to, oh, excuse me. Sorry, y'all. I had popcorn in my teeth. I know that's gross, but I had to get it out because I kept seeing this brown thing, and I'm like, my teeth rotting? What the heck? Like, I brush my teeth like 3 times a day. Anywho, so as I'm walking, I see her going off, talking about her mother and how ungrateful she was, and she gave her a gift and she wanted something else, and blah blah this. And in the same breath, y'all, in the same breath, she gets up and she begins to talk about her children and why they are so ungrateful, and her husband is so ungrateful because they didn't give her what she wanted. Like, and she never, and you know how you try to just overlook things and just go somewhere else and do all that? She never did that. She never told them what she wanted. She hinted. And a lot of people do that. They hint. But what if your hints aren't enough? And then I was just sitting there and I'm like, really? Like, you don't want to try to judge other people's situations because you don't know what they're going through. But what I do know is that this person is not lacking financially. She might be lacking some emotional things, but financial, and it's like, and as we're walking, because she lives on the strip, because their apartment's there, and her kids overheard her, and they felt so upset, and they ran, and they was just really upset, and they're like teenagers. And instead of her comforting them, she's like, oh well, like she didn't even care. Like, okay, like how do you think that made them feel? So with that being said, I was just like, I was upset. She was nice to me, but I was still upset because I'm like, okay, you don't know what your kid had to go through to go get what they wanted. They give you what they wanted. It looks like they were really hurt because what they gave you, what she said they gave her was not a cheap gift at all. And I'm sure they had to save their allowances. They had to save, if they're still working, they had to go and put time and effort in that, and they really wanted that to happen. And yet and still you're like, complaining to someone else outside in public about, what you should have gotten. And it's like, dang, man, I don't even want to bring the point up and saying that there are people who would love to have their kids to give them something, or kids who, mothers who would love that to happen, or people who don't, would love to even just hear the voice of their kids saying that I'm grateful, just for them taking the time out. Because there are some kids who don't acknowledge, their parents, things like that. And on top of that, it was like, you're being a hypocrite. You're doing the same thing that your mother did to you. So I know you felt awful. Like, why would you go and let that same issue penetrate down another generation? Like, that was just, oh, it was beyond me. It was beyond me, y'all. Like, I was just not happy. I'm not even going to say what I wanted to do, but I was not happy. And I was just like, it made me reflect on my mother, because let me tell you, this situation and what I'm talking about right now is from God, because my mother and I never had that super close relationship like that. It was God that mended it and made us have a communication line to speak and to talk to each other the way that we do. If that wouldn't have happened, we would never have a conversation, because I really didn't even care. Like, into the point where, and you guys would say like, oh yeah, you care deep inside. No, I didn't even acknowledge it to even care. So it did not bother me. Most of my needs were met. So yeah, just gratitude. Sometimes, and then you see all this stuff with mental health. I know those kids. I hope they don't do nothing crazy, but you never know what's going on in your kid's mind. Like, okay, well, it's just not good enough. I tried. You know, um, and y'all. Oh, if I could tell y'all what, I don't even want to get too deep about what they gave her, but they gave her a very expensive, very nice gift. That's something that she wanted. It wasn't anything that she didn't want. It wasn't like an ugly sweater or anything. This was something that took some time and some money. Okay, this took some time and some money. And even if it didn't, it still took effort. Some people just no. So, anywho, I know Mother's Day is only one day, but you should love and be appreciative of every person that enters into your life. You don't understand the power of life until you start experiencing it, until you lose it. I told you about, my family situation, and I know that, her kids are never gonna see their mother on Mother's Day. Like, there are some people who live like that, who wish that their mothers were here, who were here and were good and left, and who weren't there, like, so you have to be very grateful. And all that, the hustle and bustle, and we want to show the big balloons, um be aware that show your love every day. It shouldn't take a stinking holiday. It shouldn't take a stinking person to declare a day as, um some time to a time to give someone love and affection and to say I appreciate you. It shouldn't take a stinking day. That's just like mental health day. Mental health is mental health week. Yeah, it's mental health month, but it's like, on the 20th, I think it's mental health day. May is definitely it. And it just really baffles me because everyone wants to be nice then, just like St. Patrick's Day, just like Valentine's Day, just like Earth Day, just like Thanksgiving, just like Christmas, just like, every other day, except Father's Day, because they don't even care, y'all. Some of y'all, y'all need to get it together. Well, sometimes Father's Day, but yeah. The people would just wait, or Easter, definitely Easter. Oh, you're gonna show up for Easter, you're gonna get you an Easter dress, get you an Easter fit. Y'all about to go cook 12,000 meals. Y'all about to go to services that y'all ain't went in years. Y'all about to go, and then the next day, they about to do stuff and read the Bible. They're gonna get themselves and get wholesome living and try to get, but then the next day it's like, well, we're back to the same. And it's like, no, you should treat every day. Every day is a holiday. Every day is a gift. So treat the people that are in your life with decency and respect. It's not going to be always, you're going to mess up sometimes, but you need to let them know that you love them no matter what. I would hate to have someone or leave this earth and to have someone think that I hate them or have ill wishes to them, because that ain't it. I don't give a care what you did to me. Good or bad, whether I thought it was good or bad, because everything works to the good for those who love him. Period. Okay, anyhow. So I don't want you to think that at all. It's just an experience to me. It is like an experience. It's an experience. And I love adventure anyway. Most people know that I will go, and I am a traveler. Y'all, like, I can just get up and go and make some things happen, Captain. So that's just how I am. And I, like I said, I don't want to hold bitterness. I've had that experience of doing it, of holding anger and bitterness and vengefulness, because I am a person that's sometimes revengeful, but at the same time, I never had the experience this intense. But when I did, it made me acknowledge the power of letting go and the power of surrendering to to forgiveness and understanding what that really means, and it's not a sign of weakness, and it is to help you get to that next spot. Because if you don't let go of toxic things or anything, it might not even be toxic, something that is no longer serving you, you're not going to be able to get up and grow and go to the next dimension. Y'all had to deal with that with a job. But yeah, so that's my aftermath of it. So yeah, love people. Love on them. You don't know when your time is. We all got to go, but no, you don't want that to be on your head. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead, call my mom. I don't know if you guys can see. Did it show it? Boom. There we go.
Thank you for calling Richmond State Hospital. Please listen carefully to the following options. Wait while I transfer your call.
Richmond State Hospital operator.
Hi, I'm calling for 420 Unit A.
Could you say that again for me? I'm sorry.
Sure, 420 Unit A.
Okay, 428. Gotcha. Give me
Correct.
1 second.
Thank you. I'm going to try to act like she's just so busy. And they have caller ID, y'all. One day.
28, this is Madison.
Hi, Madison. I'm calling for Patricia Dean. My name is Belle Dean, and the unit code is 420 Unit A.
Okay, I can let her know that you called, and then...
Right. Yeah, I'm aware.
Call back if she'd like.
I'm aware. Okay, so wait a minute. Is she, like, up?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So another thing that I learned, y'all, because it's kind of hard. I'm going to tell you guys about, I know this is titled Mother's Day Aftermath. And the reason why I titled that is because of that story. But I also wanted to talk about the things that I have gotten wind of. And I know people are going to be like, what did you do, Bill? What did you do? Okay, so here's the deal. I knew that some of the things that they were saying was not true, okay? But if you're dealing with something in that area, you can't bring it. It's like I said, it's their word against yours, okay? So one of the reasons why I record is to protect myself. It's not just, I do want people to understand the power of mental illness and what do you go through as a family member through it? How do you overcome it? How do you, and when I say overcome it, you're outliving it. You're able to work through the differences and work through the obstacles that comes along with mental illness, right? But like I said, mainly it was I didn't freaking broke my nail. Mainly it was to, cover my end so you guys can see, because dealing and working with people who have been in the system and dealing with mental illness, yes, a lot of them have, emotional and mental instability. And that's why they're in such facilities and that's why they're getting help. But there are a lot of people that take great advantage of them, and some of the people know that, and even the people who have mental illness know that, and sometimes they retreat to using alcohol, drugs, being in unhealthy relationships just to escape being going through those cycles and just to escape some of those things, and when I look at that, I even look at myself with certain things. If you're even if you didn't have a mental illness and you're in an uncomfortable situation, the outcomes, because we live in an imperfect world, the outcomes, your options, you always have options, but some of the options might not be best for you, best suited for you, meaning that, it might harm you in the end. Just like, okay, if you're in an abusive relationship with someone who is mentally unstable, which I went through that situation, and you want to leave and you have depleted all your resources, this person, you stay with them a little bit way too long, to the point that this person or this individual has broken you down. How you're going to, your outcomes, your possibilities are going to be different from when you first started, when you had a lot of options, and if you're in a relationship like that and you keep going back to it, it's going to seem toxic, and a lot of people are going to fall off, and they're not, even though you need the help, sometimes it's best for them to fall off because they're not, getting your attention. So when you do get time to get out of the relationship, it's going to, you're going to have issues as far as, where to go, what's going to be the best place to go. I'm going to tell you my story because I don't want to tell anyone else's story as I'm showing everybody else's story. I always want to include myself and to show you guys and be very transparent as possible, to the point that it becomes, what I'm saying, it becomes effective, meaning that you can apply, you can see what was going on, and you can apply it to make your life, your situation better, because no situation is the same. I don't give a care if you're dealing with mental illness, you're dealing with abuse. No situation is the same. Okay. I really just don't care who's telling you that. It's just not. It's never going to be. You can have the exact identical diagnosis. You can have the same reactions. It's not going to be the exact same. It's not going to be the exact same. Okay. So my situation was dealing with a toxic individual, and it wasn't toxic at first. I'll tell you that. It was definitely not toxic at first. It was very heroic, very just nice and just calm. It just looked very calm and mellow. So I didn't really piece it together. But as the time went by, things got very chaotic, to the point where I would leave and come back. But when I came back, it was always something else that I was giving up. Like, okay, I wasn't allowed to work. And I'm so used to working because I've worked since I was 13 years old. Okay. So for me not working, it feels like I'm doing nothing. And being in a household, seeing that you are lazy if you don't have a job, because most people tell you that. Not true, y'all. Not true. Okay. So I've been conditioned to work. Anywho, because I didn't work, then that's when the manipulation started coming back. Then, oh, you needed a job. Then I got a job, but then that job that I had was not enough to take care of me. And it just came that way. So when it was my time to leave, I had to make it. I had already made a lot of sacrifices, meaning I had lost a lot of opportunities that was given to me. Some of the people that were trying to help me were had let go and pushed away and got far away from me. There were some people who act as if they were trying to help me, but they were manipulating, getting what they could get out of the deal, because I was connected to someone who was financially stable, and the method was giving. If something happens, it's a giving, and then you make you feel horrible about it. Then, so, yeah, I had to make a decision, as far as, do I leave the current job that I have and go into a shelter and not have a job and go back, or do I stay where I'm at, try to save money, and then get up and go? Because my job, let me tell you, when my job found out, well, they knew. This was the crazy part. The last job that I had, it was at a grocery store before I moved here. And that, when I told them what happened, they said they had already envision, it was like, we knew your whole personality just went dead. And they were like, you didn't even look yourself. Like, you had stopped wearing makeup. Like, because he had me start wearing makeup. Y'all, it was deep. But anywho, so, I had to make a lot of tough decisions. And they were ugly. They didn't look so cute. You know, I couldn't connect to some of the family members that I needed that could, you know, at that time that I thought could help me or could build me up emotionally, because they had a connection to him and they didn't understand that some of the things that he was doing and the games that were being played. So that is the same thing it's like 10 times worse when you're dealing with a mental illness, because, you know, a lot of people don't want to be around people who have mental illness. They're like, oh, it's too much. It's this and that. And, you know, it's stressful, and it is stressful. Sometimes it is, you know, a lot of work. It takes a lot of time because they have triggers that you have to really learn and be accustomed to and work on, sometimes a little bit more than others. So, yeah. But at the same time, excuse me. At the same time, it's like regular life. Like, these are the things that they have to go through. And sometimes when you're dealing with mental illness, sometimes you're like, or even not, because I settled. I was just like, you know, I would rather go through this than to have this. You know, was it tough? Either way, it was going to be tough. Yes. Was it going to take a little bit more time? Yes. But was it worth it? Yes, it was worth it for me, because I got a sense of myself back. I started understanding the dynamics that I was living under. And I started, not only that, I started learning the things that were happening previously over and over, because if you take a good look at it, you can see the patterns over and over. Someone who has mental illness doesn't mean that they don't look at the patterns. It's just a little bit tougher. It's just a little bit tougher because of extra obstacles. So, yeah. Yeah, y'all. That's what I wanted to talk about, dealing with the whole factor of mental illness. You know, some people, most people know, you know, they're going through things, but they know that, you know, it's not going to be 100% better. So they have to use, you know, they use other ways to cope and to deal with it, you know, just like a lot of people who are on the street who haven't been diagnosed, you know, have, you know, mental illness. What about people who have like chronic addictions, you know, alcohol? You know, there's one type of alcohol I don't even allow in my home because I've seen it so much. So, and not because of me, like, a drinking it or anything. It's just, I just, I've seen it work through my family lineage and line. And yeah. So, but either way, it's not going to be it's not an easy task. So, I think that's what most individuals forget and think, you know, forget about mental illness. It's not just a one-way street. It's just not going to happen and get better overnight. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. But you can alleviate some of the things by finding the triggers. That's just like in everyday life. We have that as humans in every single day, like everyday life. That's if you get into a horrible relationship or a toxic relationship, whether it's at work, at home, at school, whatever, it's going to be like that. So, yeah, I'm going to hold on, go ahead and get off of here. I'm sure that usually if they're going to let my mother talk, because sometimes they don't. If you guys looked at the video before, she did tell you guys about how sometimes, and I do believe that's true because of the information that I got from someone, because you can't really get too much information in a mental hospital unless someone is in the mental hospital. So, yeah. And the information that I got was the same thing, that most of the times, you know, if they don't want you to talk, then you're not going to you're not going to get a chance to talk. But I noticed that even when I made a notation and told them, like, can you write this down, that 7:30 I have a client, they will now all of a sudden they have my mother calling at 7:45 and at 8 o'clock when I call her at 4 or 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and that's if she calls. Other than that, they'll say she doesn't want to talk. And then you find out that it's sometimes not the truth. Sometimes it is, but most of the times it's not. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here because I have quite a bit of things to do dealing with this. And God has been definitely pushing me to go ahead and to go hard with it. So, yeah, hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Thank you guys so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.